They say every city has corners you learn to avoid if you live there long enough. When I moved back to Tucson in early 2019, I thought I knew them all. I'd grown up in that dry heat, with desert dust in my shoes and saguaros taller than houses reminding me I was home. But the years I'd spent away dulled that instinct. Tucson was familiar, yet strangely foreign, and I walked back into it like a man who thought he was wiser than he really was. I was 27, fresh off a breakup that cracked me deeper than I wanted to admit. I'd been living in Denver for 3 years, trying to build a life with a woman I thought was the one. Turned out she wasn't, and I came crawling back to Tucson with my pride in shambles. My parents welcomed me with open arms, but nights in my apartment stretched long and quiet. I tried to fill them with gym sessions, runs down Speedway Boulevard, and protein shake. Sweat kept my mind from drifting back to her, but when the workouts ended and the silence set in, I felt the weight that what led me to Circle K that Sunday night, March 23, 2019. I'd just finished 2 hours of pushing iron at the local gym, the kind of session where your muscles shake walking out the door. My plan was simple. Swing by, grab a protein bar, hit the ATM, then head home. I wasn't thinking about anything more than refueling and maybe zoning out with a movie afterward. The Circle K sat on East Speedway, one of those busy stretches where college kids, construction workers, and night owls collide. I'd been in that store 100 times in high school, back when my buddies and I thought buying energy drinks at midnight made us rebels. That night, it was lit up like always, buzzing fluorescent lights casting a pale glow over Alfie. I saw her. She was standing near the coffee station, pacing in short, jerky steps, muttering words I couldn't catch. Her hoodie was pulled low despite the warmth, her eyeliner smudged down her cheeks like she'd been crying, and her lips were cracked like she hadn't had water in days. She looked rough, no denying it, but Tucson was no stranger to people caught in bad cycles. I've seen meth heads on Speedway, guys talking to themselves on 4th Avenue, women asking for a few bucks outside bars. She barely registered. I just wanted my snack and to get moving. I paid the cashier, the kid younger than me, yawning like he'd been on shift too long, then walked out with my bar and a bottle of water. The desert night felt good on my skin, cooler now that the sun was down. I leaned against my car, cracked the bottle, and tried not to think about how empty my apartment would feel when I got back. That's when I heard the voice. "Hey, can you give me a ride?" I looked up. It was her. She followed me out. Her voice was raspy, trembling like she'd been crying for hours up close. Her eyes were wide, almost too wide, locked on me without blinking. "My boyfriend kicked me out," she said, her words stumbling fast. "Ride, just a few blocks. I don't feel safe, please. Just for a second." Guilt tugged at me. I was raised to help people. My mom drilled it into me that you don't turn your back when someone's in need. But something about her stare hit me in the gut. It wasn't desperation, not really. It was calculation, sharp and unblinking. I forced a polite smile. "I'm sorry, I'm headed the other way." She stepped closer. "Please, it won't take long." Her hand brushed my car door handle. I locked it with a sharp click. Her eyes flicked down at the sound, and when she looked back up, there was no plea in them anymore. At heartstrings. The accomplices wait nearby. Best case scenario, you get robbed. Worst case. He trailed off, shaking his head. "Do they ever catch these people?" I asked. "Sometimes, but they move around. Gas stations, parking lots, rest stops. They count on people being too embarrassed to report it." I signed the paperwork, my hands steady, but my stomach turning. Walking out of the station into the Arizona sun, I realized something had shifted. Tucson wasn't the of burnt hot dogs rolling endlessly on their metal bars. I paid, nodded at the cashier, and stepped back into the night air. The Corolla had moved. It wasn't at the far end of the lot anymore, it was closer, just a few spaces away from my car. The driver's face was hard to see in the dim light, but the passenger was slouched low, hat pulled down, shoulders rigid. A voice in my head whispered, "Get in the car." I didn't waste time. I climbed in, locked the doors, and pulled away. The Taurus rattled as I hit the road, and for a few miles, I convinced myself it was nothing. Just two strangers in a junker Corolla. But 20 minutes later, I glanced in the mirror. There it was. Same rust-colored Corolla, two cars back slipping through traffic like a shadow. I switched lanes. They switched lanes. I slowed down. They slowed down, my grip tightened on the wheel, my stomach dropped. This was nothing. I tried every trick I could think of. I merged onto side roads, looked back onto the highway, even pulled behind a semi for cover. Each time, when I checked the mirror, the Corolla was still there. Panic simmered beneath my ribs. My mind kept circling back to the motel the night before. The man staring at my car, arms crossed. Was it him? Had they followed me from Gallup all the way here? I needed to know. 40 miles down the road, I spotted another Circle K near the highway. My heart thudded as I signaled and pulled in. If they followed me again, then it was no coincidence. I parked crooked right near the entrance and cut the engine. A minute later, the Corolla came in fast, headlights flashing. The passenger door swung open. And that's when I saw him, the man from the motel. Shaved head, a cigarette still between his fingers, eyes locked on me like he'd been waiting for this moment. He stepped out slowly. Again, softer this time. Frank, seriously, just give me the key. What's the big deal? That's when he moved. He lunged across the counter, his hand shooting toward the ring of keys. I stumbled back in shock, bumping into the candy display. Bags of Skittles and Reese's tumbled to the floor, scattering across the tile. Frank's face was twisted, his teeth gritted, eyes blazing with something I'd never seen before. What the hell are you doing? I shouted. He didn't answer. He just grabbed at the keys like a man possessed. Instinct kicked in. I shoved him back as hard as I could, the counter between us shaking under the force. Frank staggered, then cursed under his breath, his hands curling into fists. Don't, he growled. I told you not to. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. I could hear the blood rushing in my ears. I bent down, grabbed a handful of candy from the floor and threw it at him just to create space. Skittles bounced off his chest and for a moment it broke his momentum. That was all I needed. I turned and bolted for the front door. My legs felt like they barely touched the ground, my shoes sliding on the tile as I pushed through the glass door and burst into the night air. Help! I yelled, my voice cracking. Somebody help. By sheer luck, headlights swung into the lot. A car pulled up to the pump and a man stepped out, confused by the scene unfolding. Frank had stopped at the doorway, his face caught in the harsh glare of the parking lot lights. For the first time, I saw hesitation flicker across his features. He didn't chase me. The customer shouted, what's going on here? I couldn't even explain. My words stumbled over. My rooftop stretched like a black void, silent and unreadable. A part of me wanted to climb up there, prove myself wrong. But my feet wouldn't move any closer. It wasn't just fear. It was instinct. Some buried voice in my head telling me that if I went up there, I wouldn't come back down the same. Laura finally came outside, arms crossed. Marcus, seriously. If you're going to panic over shadows and sounds, you won't last long here. It's a gas station, not a horror movie. Her words tried to ground me, but even she couldn't hide the unease creeping into her tone. I caught her glancing up at the roof just for a second too long before she forced a laugh. We both laughed nervously, trying to shake it off. But the fear stayed. It sat between us like an unwelcome guest neither of us wanted to acknowledge.